Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another NTE situation. And when it comes to this game and some of the really negative press that it's been getting publicly, there's been a lot. Yes, there were concerns about its launch over in CN. There were concerns about how much revenue it's making. But now the biggest concern over here, one that looks like it's not going to die out anytime soon, is the AI allegations. And there's pretty much nothing you can do to deny the rampant use of generative AI when it comes to visuals in the game, cutscenes, and even, you know, some of like the in-game actual like quest assets. So here's just a bit of an example over here of what you'll find playing in one of like the main squares of the game, right? Think like Times Square, but like in hetero, whatever. You'll have, right, you might remember this is from, yeah, this is like some generative AI being done over here to basically create this entire, I guess, like advertisement of some kind that's showing up in game on one of those big old TVs. And so that's just like playing over there. Don't worry though, there's plenty more where that came from, ladies and gentlemen. There's also this situation over here where it appears one of the ads on the TV, or really one of like the TV segments over here, is kind of doing the same thing.
Hello everyone, I am Giovanni Dvorak. In this game, you just need to select what you want and bring them out safely. It's simple and
some people at first glance might not actually think it's, oh, this is like the heist introduction video. Yeah, don't worry. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. Apparently, like the design like changed the second he blocked it with his finger or something like that. Oh yeah. Oh wait, he was wearing like suspenders and like a tie before, and then it changes to a vest, like a low, kind of like low cut, like captain's. Wait, is that actually real? There's no way. Okay, that's... Oh, wait, that's pretty bad. Yeah, no, wait, suspenders over here, and then it changes... Yeah, wait, that's pretty bad. So... yeah, it's kind of obvious over here that there's a lot of generative AI being used in the game to render even parts of the main story quest. Because like we mentioned before, right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what plays as you're like learning the how-tos when it comes to one of the heists in the game. And that's not really that great of a look, right? Here's the actual start of that quest.
Competition. First, let's hear a few words from the organizer. Giovanni Dvorak.
you just need to...
And that's where that cutscene is. That's where that cutscene is from. Yeah, this isn't main story. I'm pretty sure it counts as the main story when this is the tutorial quest for the heists, right? And you can see over here, the amount of engagement that's occurring is kind of massive. But I think the worst part of this isn't necessarily even the fact that they're using AI, generative AI, for this sort of stuff, guys. I think it's the fact that the developers are on record saying that this is what they would not do. You have, actually, the TOF developers in one of their latest dev interviews, right? This was released on April 22nd, quite a while before the game released, right? This was the question. That gaming thing. Many projects are now promoting AI-generated content. What is the attitude of the devs towards AI in terms of technology and art? And remember, this was a relatively recent interview. Our bottom line is very clear, and our core assets and character portraits will never touch AI. This was on CN launch day, I guess. Second, game players buy emotional value, and everyone is very disgusted with spending money to buy industrial assembly line products. So this is the situation. In a lot of cases, AI usage, nobody really cares much about it at all, depending on how it's used. And this is what the NTE devs said they were going to do when it came to AI usage. We will mainly use AI to run some atmosphere renderings, basically blueprints, placeholders, initial designs, to see if it's what we're feeling we want for the preliminary work so that we can find more references and have some trial and error, right? Some redos. Basically use that as the rough draft for the design and then move forward from there. I don't think anyone cares at all in any context of AI being used this way. A game that likely did a very similar thing and nobody cares that it used AI was Expedition 33. 3. We all know how good that game is, and they use some AI for some of their initial designs and then refined it with human work from there to have a quality product at the end of the day. That is what the NTE devs promised they were going to do in this game. And when you see stuff like this, right, all of that, it kind of just appears that they might have been lying. And people don't really like that. Some people might be trying to make the argument over here, well, this isn't a core game asset because it's just a cutscene in a quest. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, how about this situation? How about this situation over here, when you got this cutscene showing up in game? A lot of people looked at this and they were kind of like, oh, some of this stuff at first glance looks a little bit suspicious. Some people say, oh, this looks like it was made in Seed Dance. And this is the thing. When we have some of the parts slowed down, you'll begin to witness what's going on over here in this cutscene. There's a lot of very awkward cuts. There's a lot of things that don't look that amazing. We got one example over here. Let's take a quick look at this. So, first things first. He got slammed into the wall. You can see it crack, right? Then in the very next scene, there's no cracks. There's nothing. The wall is perfectly fine, even though our character just got thrown into it. Right? You can see the cracks over here, all of that. And then in this next scene, we're teleported forward. Even though we naturally are like staggered and stunned, right? We're suddenly teleported forward, and then it's like we never hit this object. So maybe the walls self-regenerate in hetero, and then they also like trampoline us back when they self-regenerate, or this is not really that refined of a cutscene, and AI made it, and that's why some of the storyboarding and stuff makes absolutely no sense in it. Or the wall is invincible. You can kind of see what's going on over here. This kind of proves at a baseline that the developers for this game kind of just lied. I would consider a main cutscene in the game where you fight off against one of the most important new characters, right? A core asset. I think most people can say that like a main story cutscene that's like 1 minute, 2 minutes long, that's a core asset. And, well, unless there's like some massive fuck-ups from the animation studio over here, most people are going to look at this and then assume it's AI. Yeah, apparently this is the last chapter of the main story. And here are some more very, very strange things going on.
I won't let you do this!
Maybe our MC's just bad at, like, fights. Because she's standing completely still, and then we're still short on our attack. Yeah, I think this is that kind of like, this ain't even, like, spacing.
I won't let you do this!
We just missed. Which, maybe that's intended. But usually when the person's like in a ready stance, standing still, your attack doesn't miss because they're not moving. Maybe we're just dog shit at fighting. Yeah, I guess that's the lore accurate thing. We have no idea how to use our weapon. Yeah, it's like a stormtrooper in a sword fight. And then whatever this... Bro, it looks like we're getting electrified. You know, like in like those old-timey cartoons where like somebody gets hit by lightning and they're just like fucking lightning. Bro, that Bro, you literally see like bones cracking and breaking in real time. Nah, I don't. Is this just bad animation or is it AI? That could be one of those like fun activities, right? Bad animation or just AI. Which one is it? I think the end result is that it's not very good for the player experience. I think we can agree on that. It just keeps going, ladies and gentlemen. It just keeps going. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, no, we fucked her up. No, she's dead. Oh, no, she's dead. Yeah, no, she got cut in half, brother. And she cut it. Oh, we're dead, too. Oh! Oh, no, oh, no, our head's gone, bro. No, we're dead, bro. Our bottom line is very clear, and our core assets and character portraits will never touch AI. So, is it just bad animators, or is it AI? Which one is it? Because I don't think both are really that great of an option. Because one of the things, and I think one of the biggest points of critique, right, for NTE, Neverness to Everness, is that a lot of the gameplay, to a degree, there might be too much of it. And I think this is the general take most people can agree with when it comes to AI-generated content and games. Is it better to have smaller amounts of curated, high-quality content versus a bunch of garbage thrown into the game that gets refined by AI so it's slightly playable? Most gamers, I feel like, would prefer something that's smaller in quantity but higher in quality overall versus a bunch of content that is looking as polished as this, right? And I think that's one of the big concerns, because these developers over here essentially promised the latter. They promised the latter from the perspective of, we're just going to use AI to like storyboard, prototype, beta test designs, all of that, and then we'll refine it with that human touch from there and make it a good product. But then this is the stuff that you're seeing in the game. A lot of animation inconsistencies, a lot of stuff that looks like it doesn't have any of that human touch at all. And then basically the open admission from the developers over here, when you see all the stuff in the game, that they basically lied. And lying devs, proven that they're lying this early on in launch, is not really a good feeling for the player base. Because if they're gonna lie about this, something that's so easily disprovable simply from playing the game, what else are the developers going to lie about in the future? That is the reputation that's currently being formed right now. But this is one of the unfortunate phenomenons that has been occurring very recently in the gacha space. And that is the idea of shield grifting paid off content creators who signed a contract over with the developers of NTE, and through that contract, they're just not going to go ahead and talk about any of this stuff. The devs are openly lying to the player base, openly lying about what's going on in development. And while some creators are taking, I guess, the best approach they can right now and simply just staying silent, others will tooth and nail defend devs that are on the record just fucking lying. And I've got the perfect one here for you, ladies and gentlemen. You might know him as the biggest grifter in the gacha space, willing to say anything, defend anything, as long as it's for the bag. So now we've proven, right, that the devs are basically just openly lying to the player base, virtue signaling about what they'll do when it comes to AI-generated content, but then, of course, not following through on anything. Let's hear what Smack has to say about this AI situation.
The only hate I see on Twitter is people complaining about AI in the game.
That's because the developers just openly lied. The developers said they were only going to use AI for that early on stuff, but they're seen using it in a bunch of different places.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real, man. Virtue signaling will always be cringe in that regard, bro. It's like, I think the problem with the whole AI thing, what people don't realize, is that
fellas, is it virtue signaling to be upset about the fact that the devs are just openly lying about how they develop the game? Is it virtue signaling to be upset that the devs are openly doing 180s on statements that they only made like 2 weeks ago? And in a similar vein, isn't it virtue signaling for the NTE developers to say that game players buy emotional value and everyone is very disgusted with spending money to buy industrial assembly line products, and then they proceed to throw this shit into the fucking game? The only virtue signaling that I feel like is going on over here is from the devs of NTE. We will mainly use AI to run some atmosphere renderings to see if it is the feeling we want, and then they're doing crazy shit like this in the fucking game. Bro, he just quick swapped his outfit. Bro, this is like basically a main story quest. He just quick swapped his outfit. That's the type of stuff that AI misses, that people miss too, because they assume that AI is going to do a fantastic job, but it just makes the game seem like some generated slop. And people don't want to be playing a game where it seems like the devs don't even care what goes into it either. But hey, call the players the virtue signalers, Griff to Smack. Call them the virtue signalers. You're definitely not somebody over here that's doing any virtue signaling at all. Notice how he doesn't even address the fact that the devs openly lied. Let's hear, though, about what he thinks about AI usage, though.
The whole AI thing, what people don't realize is that everybody's doing it. They're just more tactful about it. Like, if you genuinely think whatever game you're playing ain't using AI in some capacity, you are severely naive and delusional. In the big 2.6, bro, it's being used.
And now Gacha Smack is going ahead. Griff to Smack puts on the defense mode cap for NTE and says, well, all AI usage is basically the same. Who cares, right? Hey, if Kuro Games and Genshin Impact, they proceeded to use AI to translate one of the voice lines, that's the same as NTE AI generating entire cutscenes. They both used AI. That's not good, right? So, like, what do you do? Well, how about you just get off NTE's back? How about you just get off NTE's back and stop standing on my bag? AI is AI. Who cares what you use the AI for? AI is AI. But this is the funny thing. It's already been addressed. The whole AI is AI and any usage of AI is bad. Nobody gave a flying fuck about the NTE devs using AI for this purpose over here, assuming that all they would use it for is AI to run some atmosphere renderings and see if it's the feeling that they want, right? The prototypes, the betas, then they refine it from there. Otherwise, the AI drama for this game would have gone crazy when this article released on April 22nd. Nobody cares when you use AI this way, because then it just becomes a time saver. You're still gonna have a high quality product at the end of the day, and people don't really give a shit. And again, right, the only evidence you need over here is about the Expedition 33 AI usage. And guess what the main people said regarding this bullshit? Every single field or software will have employees utilizing some type of AI. The difference is exactly what it's used for and how much work is delegated to it. That's the perfect take. Because if AI is building everything in your game from the ground up, then yes, people will consider it slop. But if AI is simply being used as a little bit of a time saver, and then from there, you're still putting in the work and the effort and the human touch to get a high quality product out, nobody cares. And that's what these devs virtue signaled about. In this interview over here, they essentially promised that they were going to take the E33 approach to using AI in their games, but they did the exact fucking opposite. And now you have what looks like entire cutscenes, and in this case, literally proven entire cutscenes being fully generated out of AI, or at least significant segments of them. But hey, you're going to have the biggest grifters in the space, ladies and gentlemen, just saying, AI is AI. It doesn't matter how much you use it or where you use it.
It's efficient. It's convenient for a lot of people. It even saves them money in terms of like you think Corpa, the biggest greedy entity in the world, ain't taking advantage of saving money and convenience? You have lost your rabbit mind.
So how come you don't see any other games getting called out for rampant use of generative AI? Oh, right, because this is the false equivalency. Because we've already established, the gaming space has already established nobody cares if you use AI in the proper context. But that's clearly not what is happening in NTE. It's obvious to everyone out there that's not how NTE is using it.
Yeah, the more I told y'all though, chat, y'all thought I was lying. I said the biggest, like, most cringe thing in 226 is virtue signaling and moral grandstanding.
It's ironic to hear Smack call these the most cringy things, but think about it this way. It takes an expert on how to be cringe to decide what's going to be the most cringe. Why don't we go ahead and listen to a take that this guy had only 15 months ago? Let's listen to this one again. Let's just listen to this, right? This is when he was on, well, I guess you could call it virtue signaling and moral grandstanding, especially when you hear the takes he has in the present. This is him talking about Castorus. Just listen to we gotta listen to the extended one over here. This is this dude talking about integrity and quality in games.
Elder Scrolls Online. Every single genre you think of, League of Legends, booming, popping off. We were there to witness all of it, and we were able
Now remember, he's being inclusive. He's talking about himself.
to gain insight into all the things that made these games spark, that made these games pop. We know what a game's integrity looks like. We know what a good game looks like. We know what passionate developers look like, and we
Remember, the NTE devs just openly lied about their use of generative AI and all of that. Like, remember, this was only 15 months ago.
know what a motherfucker that ain't worth a quarter looks like in terms of game development and what they're
We know what a motherfucker that ain't worth a quarter.
trying to do when they're trying to milk the cow. It's not that we're bitter.
When they're trying to milk the cow just by saving as much budget as possible with cutscene and asset development by using using near goddamn full AI to generate the stuff.
It's not that we're salty. It's not that we're hating. We've seen numerous benchmarks of good game development versus piss poor, fuck you, shit on your dollar game development.
Oh, did we? Did we?
And so when I call these things out,
When I call these things out, remember,
and when people who were born in that 10 years, which is a lot of content creators you watch today, call these things out, you need to understand we are keeping it a fucking buck. And
remember, in the big 226, guys,
I was lying. I said the biggest, most cringe thing in 226 is virtue signaling and moral grandstanding. It's become a very prominent and popular thing today. It's wild, bro.
you would know firsthand with your insane amount of experience in virtue signaling and moral grandstanding how bad it's gotten in the good old 226, wouldn't you, Grifta Smack? Because how in God's name were you saying all this shit just 15 months ago, and then now you just did the craziest 180 grip it, twist it that the space has ever seen? We're now at the point where a company is just using AI to just generate cutscenes in-game, and you're all just like, well, everyone's using AI, so it can't be that bad, right? Everyone's just better at hiding it. Everyone else is just better at hiding the AI. Remember, all AI is bad, and so if you use AI at all, that means you're in the same bucket as NTE that's fully generating cutscenes. When literally that take has already been proven wrong by the developers themselves, when nobody gave a fuck when they said they were going to use AI like this, and people only give a fuck right now because they're definitely not using AI like this. Kind of just the exact opposite. But that's the power of the bag, ladies and gentlemen. That's the power of grifting. That's the power of having a paid check from the company. Most people just wouldn't comment on this issue. But Gacha Smack, we gotta take the professionals approach. We gotta try to maintain our reputation in this circumstance, not just stay silent, but in this situation, just muddy the waters with false equivalencies to try to justify why we're in this position. Just admit it. You're doing this all for the bag. You are not expressing your honest opinions over here, or the bag has tempted you so much that this situation, all these statements you were making here about keeping it a buck, you simply just don't believe in those anymore. So you either lied back here and you were just in it for the bag the whole time, or you're openly lying over here, or your mind has changed severely since then. Keeping it a buck.
we are keeping it a fucking
Nah, you're keeping it a fucking bag here, brother man.
buck. And everything we're saying is for the betterment of gamers.
The betterment of gamers.
Okay, not the corporations.
Not the corporations. And then a whole 15 months later, you just see this dude doing everything possible to minimize what's going on when a dev literally openly lied. The betterment of the bag, bro.
Gamers. Get it through your thick fucking skulls, buddy, and let it marinate like neck bone juice.
Maybe his neck bone juice been marinating a little bit too long.
You go. I don't care if the quality is good and we get more content, heaps of pulls. Hey, at the end of the day, I'm a very simple man, right?
So are we saying this is good? Bro, your MC is getting decapitated in cutscenes. That's not good quality. That's...
Right. As a consumer, am I enjoying the product in front of me? Right? If I'm enjoying the product in front of me,
can you take an opinion like this seriously when he's being paid to play the game and stream it for 5 days in a row? Like, why even try to say something like this? Like, why even try when it's so obvious you're paid off?
it's not my business to worry about anything else, bro. I came here to play the video game, not to analyze what was happening around the video game.
Don't think. Just consume the product. Don't critically analyze things. Just consume the product.
We are keeping it a fucking buck, and everything we're saying is for the betterment of gamers.
No, it's for the betterment of your bag. And I think the funniest thing about this is that you can literally see the progression of this guy's viewership as he continues on his NTE sponsorship. Bro, the views are literally just dropping off of a fucking diabolical cliff at this point. It's crazy because I don't even think the NTE analytics are that bad. I think it's just everybody knows this guy is paid off like fucking crazy. Like, this guy is literally just like bought. Like, I think that's just the baseline take that everyone has nowadays. It's fucking absurd. Because in this situation, bro, this was how he decided to defend the game from the devs literally, provably just fucking lying about how they were going to develop things. And he managed to turn it into not just like a defense piece for the team. He managed to turn it into an attack on everybody critiquing it. I think that's the worst part of it all. He made it a defense piece and then insulted, called you all virtue signalers if you happen to have any issue at all with the devs openly fucking lying to you. You're a virtue signaler. You're one of the big problems in 226. You're doing some moral grandstanding over here. Oh, yeah, forget about this entire segment I had over Caceres last year. Yeah, don't talk about that one, though. I don't apply. I don't apply to that critique. I'm not a virtue signaler. I'm not a moral grandstander. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just keeping it in a bag. Sorry, I mean, I'm keeping it in a buck. Brother, this is why, or one of the big reasons why we're making this video. Because I don't know who isn't paid off. It's probably easier for me if I were to just like take every CC in the space, right? And just like, it's on like a revolving board and I just like throw darts. I would probably hit more sponsored CCs than unsponsored ones because that's how much the space is currently bought out. And one of the things as a creator that I pride myself on is the fact that it's super easy for me to sustain my career. Right? Super easy for me to do what I do every day and have no financial pressures at all. And I don't need to take sponsors. A bunch of other CCs in the space, ladies and gentlemen, they can't live without sponsors. They are at the beck and call of these companies. And if one day, right, these companies decide to like pull the plug on their program, maybe not sponsor as much as the previous round, these CCs have nowhere to go. Because they don't get income from their channels. They don't get income from videos, AdSense, all of that. They're relying on sponsors to exist. And when this is the difference, right? Openly lying, openly grifting, all of this stuff, downplaying stuff severely, is the difference between you having a career and not. Why do you think these guys, like Grift to Smack over here, right, are just gonna openly do 180s on the opinions that they had last year this fast? Because it's kind of their only option. And it's honestly a little bit pathetic to think about, right? Their only option to have a career is to be dishonest with their audience. That's how the gacha space has evolved ever since Enfield, ladies and gentlemen. Buying out CCs and silencing criticism about the game through a gag made out of money is the new meta. And it's insane once you think about it. That literally is the new meta. And creators like this are the ones bringing it forward. And that's one of the reasons why the gacha space is in fucking turmoil right now, ladies and gentlemen. People don't want to watch the content. People don't want to watch the CCs because everyone seems bought out, performative, and fake as shit. And this is the biggest, easily the biggest example that you can see. And I'm glad Grift to Smack over here made it so goddamn obvious. So like, you don't need to look any further past this 3-minute segment over here to know that this dude has sold out completely. So yeah, that's the AI situation, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a little bit unfortunate, but it's something that we're going to talk about, knowing that no other CC in the space, because they're likely bought out, no other CC in the space is going to talk about it either. But hey, I'm not chained by the golden handcuffs over here. So that means we're actually allowed to say the truth. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.